Right now, I would like to welcome Ella Seijsener, Director of Licensing and Supervision at the Netherlands Gambling Authority, as our first speaker of the day. Welcome, Ella. And I think we're all eager to hear from your point of view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Willem, for allowing me to address you all today on behalf of the KSA, the Netherlands Gambling Authority. As head of the Licenses Supervision Directorate, I see on a daily basis what is happening at our legal regulated operators, what they are up against, as well as where significant improvements are possible, in our view. I will, of course, address both sides of that coin today. We went through a major change last year at the KSA. We reconstructed our management layer and are now working together much more comprehensively in the field of supervision and enforcement. We also do that because we see that when we turn one dial, there's an effect on the other side. Our former chairman, René Jansen, told one of the national newspapers years ago that the legal and illegal markets are communicating vessels. This remains the case, thus also prompting a comprehensive approach, an approach in which we are communicating internally to making our supervision much more risk-driven and problem-solving in the coming months, so that we target efforts at those areas with the greatest risks where the player is not or not sufficiently protected. We have also set up a new player protection department, which focus on, among other things, the development of the Addiction Prevention Fund and educating consumers about the risks of gambling. This new branch sometimes generates friction, but with that friction leads to a better result in the end. We look at various supervision topics through different lenses and thus arrive at policies and supervision that are workable for you, but which on the other hand also protect the player optimally. You will in no doubt notice that in the way we work now. But I also understand this is not the most important thing of my speech for you today. Let us therefore talk mainly about what is happening in the market. In the most recent monitoring report from this spring, we saw that the online gambling market in the Netherlands is stagnating, remaining at the same level as 6 months earlier. The number of operators, their gross gambling revenue, the number of players, and the channelization rate, all roughly the same as 6 months earlier. That you could call stabilization, and consider that the novelty of the opening market has gradually worn off. However, I can imagine that that is not how it feels to you. And I can hear, of course, that you have concerns about the future. All the more since this flat gross gambling result is not an international trend. According to commercial data from provider H2 Gambling Capital, the licensed gambling market in the EU grew 11% in 2025 in comparing to 2024. The Dutch licensed online gambling market is seriously lagging behind, therefore. We take those concerns seriously. In the run-up to the committee debate on gambling later this month, we have already heard some noises on all sides about the new Secretary of State policy and how she will respond to the wishes of the new coalition. Our board of directors have already had a meeting with her about this, and we feel she took our concerns very seriously. We have her listening ear, so to speak. In this meeting, the KSA has also reflected on some of the proposed plans. We have previously spoken out publicly against a total ban on advertising for online providers. We are also critical of the plan to limit the number of online licensing for online providers. A new impact assessment of the gambling tax will probably be published at the end of June, Willem already made the reference to it, will show that the increase of gambling tax did not achieve its intended goal. Less tax revenue is in fact coming in because the base has decreased. And that decreased base hits you in your wallets, of course. The political climate seems to have cooled for you as a result. The critical voices that has previously been heard from society and the media are now translating into tightened policies, whereby the previously seeming unlimited growth of the market now seems to be stalling. On top of that, there is another problem, the illegal criminal market. The stagnation of the market growth does not extend to this illegal criminal market. The channelization rate based on gross game result has since decreased to 53%. Nearly half of the market game revenue share is going to the illegal markets. Illegal businesses are disappearing as quickly as they appear, making them sometimes seem elusive. On the advertising front, moreover, all stops are being pulled out. TikTok is awash with ads from Sky Hills and others, and we all know the reports that show the enormous volumes from illegal advertisements on Meta. As the KSA, we are putting everything we can into fighting this illegal criminal market. As you are all aware, that has long gone beyond handing out penalties and fines. We are open about the fact that those fines are almost impossible to collect, and thus almost never paid. At the same time, these fines continue to send a signal to consumers as well, and other regulators, which companies we no longer want to see in our market. If you have an instrument in your toolbox, it's foolish not to use it. What is more effective is our comprehensive approach by working with hosting providers, banks, payment service providers, and marketing companies. Among others, we intend to break down the infrastructure around illegal providers, make it impossible for them to operate in our Dutch market. And you, too, the legal gambling providers, contribute to this. That's good to see. Big tech and social media companies play an important role in this game. Advertisements on Meta and organic search results on Google ensure that the illegal offerings can be found. As the KSA, we work with these parties by making reports and reminding them of their responsibility. I can tell you that the last month, in May, we did 26,000 reports to Meta for illegal advertising. But not nearly enough is happening. Our board chairman, Michel Groothuizen, therefore traveled to Dublin last week to have a robust discussion with these companies, together with some of his fellow European regulators, with the aim of getting tech companies to do more in tackling illegal offerings. And earlier this week, in the Conference of European Regulators, the GREF, continued to discuss this, as well as several other topics concerning the illegal online gambling market. Joining forces with our European colleagues puts us in a stronger position to fight that market. We all share the same problems. Supervision is not quid pro quo. Nevertheless, after this dose of understanding, I'm also going to take this opportunity to explain what we as the KSA expect from you in turn. As a regulator, you always run the risk of being seen as an extension or mouthpiece of the market. Therefore, when we speak out against increasing gambling tax or a total ban on advertisement, criticism is quickly leveled against us. And if I'm completely honest, I can understand that to some extent. We saw several expressions of discontent in media over the past year. To some extent, that concerned illegal offerings from Polymarket and Sky Hills, among others, which we have criticized on the past on several occasions. But many of the questions that came to us, both via the House of Representatives and the media, were also about legal supply. The Consumers Association launched a major claim in the context of the duty of care. And the KSA has previously stated that the duty of care was not properly fulfilled after the market opened up. The root of that problem, lack of clarity of the rules on our side, or unwillingness to do the utmost on your side, is open to debate. But the fact that such a claim has enough breeding ground and is being widely taken up does say something about how we as a society in the Netherlands view gambling nowadays. That image is reinforced by the level of advertising that still exists. I understand that advertising is necessary to make the legal market visible to Dutch consumers. But there are advertising rules, and they are there for a reason. As soon as new phenomena arise, such as streamers filming themselves while gambling, it is upon you to consider these phenomena in the light of the existing rules. Relying on gaps or ambiguities in legislation or regulation is easy. But if the average Zembla viewer does not see the nuance, you can wonder whether you are in the right or have simply been looking for a loophole. My appeal, therefore, is to act more in the spirit of the law. With a superb World Cup quickly approaching, the prospect of attracting new players beckons. We have therefore sent out letters with our expectations, and, as with the previous European Championship, are going to strictly take enforcement action against violations. The World Cup has huge appeal to key target groups we are concerned about, the young adults. It's precisely this group, among others, why we have restricted advertising rules. The fact that this is necessary is also clear from the latest figures on gambling addiction, because those do not lie. The number of people in treatment for gambling addiction continues to rise. This is partly due to the fact that gambling addiction takes a long time to reveal itself, so it takes quite a long time for people to seek treatment. With a market that has only been open for 5 years, it is not surprising that the number of visible people with gambling problems is rising. However, that does not mean it's not a problem. We, as the KSA, keep repeating that people are worse off on illegal markets because there is no duty of care there at all. But that's not the full truth. We also see that people who gamble with illegal businesses often started doing so via legal businesses. I have seen a study showing that young people at the age of 18 sign up directly to gambling sites very shortly after their birthday. They may have turned on to these by friends or their environment, but despite all the advertisement restrictions, they also still come in contact with license offered via advertisement. So there's an important responsibility for you. If we, as the KSA, want to be able to continue to make the argument that people are better off in a regulated market than in a market with only illegal supply, we need to be able to show that. We still hand out warnings and fines for failures to comply or fully comply the duty of care rules. We still see young people managing to lose hefty sums and play for long periods of time without any intervention taking place. It is therefore important that you not only start looking more strictly at the measures you have taken here, you also need to learn more about different risk factors out there. What addiction indicators are we aware of? And how do we implement them in effective addiction prevention policies? That ball is absolutely in your court. As a regulator, we will remain committed to a safe, regulated market. We also do that by making sure it remains workable for you and by cracking down the illegal offerings. But the most important part is that we are able to say, without any reservation, that people are better off in a regulated online market. that is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. And it's also up to you to do something about this. I'd like to thank you now for your attention. And I would like to point out that this afternoon, my colleague Floor van Bakken will talk more about player protection and what we need from you in regard to this. Following off from what I spoke of, I advise everyone to listen carefully to that, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. We will definitely do that this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts.
Yes, I will
appreciate it.
remain here the whole day.